I'm a vampire, y'all. Look at me. Let me suck your dick. Your blood. Let me suck your dick. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Pumpkinator, and today we're going to be covering the American Vampire comic series because it won the Piggity Poll. Look at you. You do have a say. And I'm kind of hyped for this one. Created by Scott Snyder, Raphael Albuquerque, and Stephen King. What are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be writing an anticlimactic ending? Uh-oh, I can hear the comments now. Anyway, they made it for DC Comics under the Vertigo imprint from 2010 to 2015, which is an imprint for more mature series that DC doesn't want to print under their main continuity. Stories like The Sandman and Hellblazer. But they closed back in 2020. So when American Vampire came back in late 2020, they were published under DC Black Label, which is practically the same exact thing, but pop off, I guess. And American Vampire is broken into 3 different sections. The first story was mainly written by Scott Snyder, and had a smaller story written by Stephen King. After this, Scott Snyder took over writing completely, and the second series called American Vampire Second Cycle. And the final series released is American Vampire in 1976. They have a whole bunch of one-shots and anthology series too, but we're just gonna focus on the first one today. So I hope you're ready to sink your teeth into American Vampire. The first issue starts 30 miles east of Los Angeles, in the Wild West. We see someone riding in the desert, and someone's recounting their 8th birthday. Apparently their dad took them to a general store in Topeka and let them get a bunch of candy. All of this is said when a mysterious man opens the back of a wagon, revealing a bunch of corpses rotting back there. He drags them to a cliff and throws them all off, but a poor woman is still alive. We then cut to 3 days earlier, where we find the person who was telling the stories was this woman named Pearl Jones, and she's trying to make it out in Hollywood. She's still working her way up though, because right now she's just an extra in a horror movie. Her and her friend Hattie are about to make their camera debut, so they need to practice their final girl scream. We then cut to after they're done filming, the two are on their way home. They're exhausted from the day and a little stressed because the rent is due. Which, damn bro, shit ain't changed much, huh? They're also a little weirded out because this random dude has been chilling out by their place for like 3 days now. Pearl says she's gonna tell somebody if he's there tomorrow, but like maybe change your route home, fam, or like tell somebody now. 3 days I feel like is long enough, you know. This is how y'all die like horrible deaths. Come on now. We then cut to later that night where Pearl goes to her real job as a cigarette girl. She works all the way until dawn and she's about to go to her 3rd job. Good lord, this girl's a trooper. But then she gets stopped by this fellow. His name's Henry, and he's there to ask her if she'll have coffee with him, but she turns him down because she's on that grind. So he convinces her to let him walk her to work. They have a little cute combo where they get to know each other, and when they get there, this nice young man invites her to go on a date to the beach, which she says yes to. We then cut to the set again where Pearl gets told to run lines with the main actor. They get a little bit close and steamy, and he invites her to a little party. And the next time we see Pearl, her and Hattie are getting all dolled up for the party, but then they run into the creepy cowboy again. Pearl assumes that he's shacking up with one of the neighbors, but he just says that he's there for the pool, and he's completely single. Take notes, fellas. This is what they call Riz. God damn it, bro. I'm not beating that unk allegations, huh? She's not really interested, but she entertains him. She asks him to take off that big hat so she can take a good look at him. But all he says is that he's pretty on the inside. She stops messing around and tells him that if he's there tomorrow, that she's gonna call the sheriff. He laughs and says, okay, but I'll let you in on a little secret. He tells her that she should skip out on this party that she was invited to, because ain't nothing there but a bunch of stuffy fat cats and Europeans sniffing cheese. She ignores him, of course, and her and her friend Hattie head off to the party. When they get there, Hattie tells Pearl that she inspires her because of how dedicated she is. But their conversation gets cut short because the hot man dude notices them from afar. He leads Pearl into this secret room. There's a whole bunch of random guys in there. They all start talking about movies where the guys start getting uncomfortably close. They say that they can make her into a star, but there's only one problem. They're about to eat her ass. Now that was just issue 1. I'm not gonna lie, it was okay. I'm not saying that it's bad. I guess I was just expecting more like vampire antics, like I guess before like the last page. I don't know, maybe it's just my ADHD TikTok zoomer brain, but like I still liked it though, don't get me wrong. Also, I lied, because there's actually 2 stories in these comics. This one was written by Scott Snyder, and the other one is written by the King. But I'm gonna cover his story after I finish this one. Now you're probably wondering, Pearl's kinda screwed, right? Well, yeah, she is. Because the messed up woman from the beginning of the issue was Pearl. How rough is that? Anywho, the next issue starts with her friends checking on her to see if she made it back home okay. But we know that bitch is gone. They go out into the desert searching for her, where they find a girl chewed up and bloody. They take her to the hospital where the doctor says she's kinda cooked. All the blood that she's lost has caused organ failure, so she really doesn't have that much time left. Later that night, the cowboy sneaks into the window and says she must have been bored to death at that party. He bites himself and kisses blood directly into her eye, which brings her back to life because we see that she starts dreaming about being a kid again. She's having fun playing until she sees her dad reaping away. She asks him what he's doing up so early, but he just gives her her early morning hiss. It's okay, girlie. My dad's not a morning person either. She suddenly wakes up in a morgue, where she sees all the messed up bodies all around her. She gets up to leave, but the lights come on, revealing the cowboy. And his name's Skinner Sweet. I'm just gonna keep calling him Skinner Sweet from here on out. She asks what happened, but he doesn't take it very seriously. She gets pretty pissed off, so he tells her she freaking died. She doesn't want to believe it at first, but she knows that he's telling the truth. And there's something strange. She can feel teeth behind her normal ones. She looks into the mirror and asks if she's a vampire like them, but she's not. She's a vampire like him. He explains that since he turned her, she's a more evolved and more powerful vampire. That's That's why she can go into the sun and has a reflection, while all the Yarrow pagans have to play by the classic rules. Oh, and he also tells her that they're gonna hate her for it. So after giving her the most bare bones explanation, he dips, but he leaves a little note for her, saying that he left a little present for her in the closet. When she checks it out, it's Chase Hamilton, the actor that fed her to the vampires. In which, if you could imagine, she's pretty mad. So she gives him a little nibble in the neck, which makes him run for his life. But he doesn't get too far. And the next time we see him, he's been sucked dried. And like low-key, he's kind of lucky. Look at her. I'd hit. Don't judge me now. So after this, as you could probably imagine, Pearl goes on a vengeful rampage. She goes home and tells Hattie that she's not going to be around for a while because she's after some people who hurt her. And also, she's sorry about the mess she made. But she's not the only one looking for revenge because the vampires are trying to figure out what they're going to do with their good old boy Skinner Sweet, who took out a whole bunch of them not too long ago. Their leader, Bloach, heard of some antics brewing that could have been Skinner. So they sent vamps Edgar and Lucia to check it out. On their way there, Pearl pulls up next to their car and is like, "Hey, you're that cool actor. Time to die." And freaking rips the driver from the car. And then rips Edgar's face off, causing the car to fall off a cliff. Edgar crawls out and immediately gets a stake to the heart. Good lord, Pearl's going demon mode. Lucia tries to crawl out, but she gets burnt by the sun. So she starts talking mad smack. The sun starts to set, and Pearl decides to change up her plan on how to kill her. Instead of burning her alive, she instead beats the crap out of her, and then stabs her onto a cactus because the thorns are wood. Wait, is that like a real thing? Hold on. It's not. I thought I just learned something new today, and instead I got lied to. Either way, she's dead. Oh well. After that, Pearl goes to see Henry on his boathouse, and he grabs his woman in a loving embrace. She tells him that she wants to tell him everything, and when she does, he's a little bit more than shocked. He doesn't believe her, obviously, but he says that she can stay with him for as long as she likes, which is good because she suddenly gets sleepy and passes out. She sleeps all the way until the next night, where she's awoken by Henry saying she got a call. It's from Hattie, who's been kidnapped by the freaking vampires. They tell Pearl to hurry to the sign on the hill if they want to see Hattie alive again. She goes to Henry's car, but he tries to stop her. He wants to help her, but she kind of just steals his car. Look, I know I keep stopping to like quit, but I think my favorite thing about Pearl is that she just doesn't give a fuck. She will not shy away from the fade. You will never find me in the cut with her. She speeds over to the sign where she's met by the vamps. The leader Bloach says she really must be a fan because this is the second party that she's attended. But she really doesn't care and tells them to let Hattie go, which they actually do because now they're going to try to find out what her weakness is so that they can finally kill Skinner Sweet. So they're planning on chaining her up and stabbing her with everything that they can think of and seeing what hurts her the most. Bloach tells Hattie it's time and she stabs Pearl! Betrayer! How does she inspire you but you stab her? It turns out that Hattie was a part of Pearl's Seth from the very beginning, and her reasoning for it is pretty freaking flimsy if you ask me. She says she's not tough like Pearl, but she's good at making friends. Bitch, maybe if you were better at acting, you wouldn't have to resort to violence against your friends, yeah? Pearl gets thrown into a wall, and then they try to chain her up, but she puts her heel through a guy's eye. She makes her run for it, but they jump at her and give her a good old bite, causing her to fall off a cliff. But lucky for her, a car speeds in and is driven by Henry, who hurries and helps her into a car. He tries to drive away, but the vampires are right on top of them. But they just straight dome this poor guy and keep it pushing. They keep going until daybreak, where Pearl is looking a little weak. Henry says to drink from... Huh? He says to drink from him, and she scratches his back, and then they kiss, and then they bone. Oh, this is the best comic ever. And apparently that good was too good because we see that some time has passed and Henry is just waking up. He checks on Pearl, who's pretty torn up about Hattie and becoming a vampire. But he reassures her and tells her that she's still her and he's gonna help her with this fight, as long as he can get a date after. The two of them work together to gather a whole bunch of wood to make some stakes, and then they drive to the fight. We then see the vamps are trying to plan on what to do about Pearl, but Pearl pulls up and brings the fight to them. They throw a corpse at them, but Pearl just slices straight through them and leaves it to Henry to finish them off. This big Nick tries to take her on, but makes quick work out of him. But things get a little bit tense because Henry gets captured by Bloach. He starts talking a whole bunch of crap, but Pearl doesn't care and just hawks her pickaxe at the window, allowing sunlight to come in and roast the leader alive. They check on each other and Henry asks if she's okay, and she says she will be. There's just one last thing she's gotta do. Pearl goes to the playhouse to find Hattie, and she asks for an autograph. She's like, sure, in blood, bitch! Okay, so you're probably wondering how Hattie became a vampire, right? She used Pearl's blood that was on the knife to stab herself so she could turn herself into a vampire, because she's a selfish and jealous bitch. That's the tea. But it doesn't help her at all because Hattie just slashes her straight in the chest and jams a gold star directly into her mouth, killing her, leaving her as the last vampire. I guess, well, minus Sweet. Whatever. She's the last one standing. After that, Pearl is finally able to go on that date with Henry. It just seems like she's actually able to get that piece that she wanted. But then Skinner pulls up and kind of crashes the date. He says he was initially going to kill her, but after seeing what she was doing this week, he decides to let her go. He flirts with her one last time and lets her live her life for now. And that's how the main story ends. And it's freaking fire. It's peak, actually. Forget what I said a couple of minutes ago. That guy, hack. Listen to me now. I wanted that vampire action and it livered. And also Hattie betraying her really made me mad. Also Pearl, I don't want no smoke, fam. We cool, right? Now you're probably wondering, what was Stephen King's contribution to this story? Well, I'll tell you. It's the backstory of Skinner Sweet. Sweet was an outlaw back in the 1800s, and he got caught by the Shire. But we get a glimpse of how twisted he actually is, because him and his posse derail an entire train just to set him free. Also, he calls this guy a slur, and it ain't a Stephen King project unless there's some hate speech in there. But when they leave the wreckage, they face a banker that they actually robbed before. They let him up, but it does absolutely nothing, and he goes straight for Skinner. He gets bit, but pushes him off, and shoots the banker directly into the eye, gating his blood into his eye. But he has more things to worry about, because he just got his throat slit, and now everybody thinks that he's dead. But we all know that he's gonna be alive and kicking in just a second. They bury him, leaving super nice things on his tombstone. And Bro Key is just chilling down there. He actually stays in his coffin for about 20 years. But he's all sad because he stacks on rats and stuff. He stays down there until the town that he's buried in gets flooded. This was when a diver goes down to his grave and tries to steal his skull, to the surprise that guy has when a naked Skinner attacks him. He leaves the water, goes on a vengeful streak to go after Percy the banker for wronging him. And if you couldn't tell, this is like a straight parallel to Pearl's story, albeit maybe a little bit more violent. Through his travels, he meets James Book, who's a vampire hunter. But being the villain that he is, he turns him into a vampire, causing Book to beg his goddaughter to kill him. She agrees, but only one condition. He'll give her a child. Huh? What the fuck is going on, bro? That man watched you grow up and you want him to put a baby in you. That is vile. Well, yeah, he provides a child for her and she raises their child Felicia to become a vampire hunter too. So I guess that's pretty cool. I personally like Pearl's story a little bit more just because she was like an actual innocent person versus like Skinner being like an evil human being. Don't get me wrong though, I did like Skinner's story. It's just like, it's kind of hard to root for the guy. Also, Skinner's story had something really gross in it that I don't like. Sorry. He does sit in front of an explosion and it looks really freaking cool. So I mean, like, that it's got that. But that's what I thought about the comic, and I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you guys want me to cover anything else or you want me to continue this story, let me know down there too. Also, like the video and hype it up, come on, and subscribe so that I can get a crumb of validation. But I'll see you guys in the next one, and make sure you tell your family that you love them. Bye bye now.